Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ranting Atheist podcast. Today we finish the conversation about in the clubhouse room that was titled "The Loneliness of Atheism." You know, it's basically how lonely it can be being an atheist with Christians living in a religious society like Nigeria especially, and all the nonsense that goes on. So we conclude our discussions, we get different perspectives before we call it a day. So if you haven't subscribed up, please consider subscribing. Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, and other places podcasts are available. If you want to join us on Clubhouse to have discussions like this, please check out the show notes. You see the link to join. We'd love to have you there. So now let's go and listen to the rest of the room that was titled "The Loneliness of Atheism." Are you there? Yvonne Okocha?
Oh yeah, hello.
Hello, yes. Good evening.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you for a minute. I want to start by. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can. Okay, I wanted to start by saying I started the approach of like trying to question everything that I've been told because I remember having an encounter with a Muslim person, and he was like, "Why did I even pick Christianity?" And is it because I was born a Christian, or because I went into this self-discovering phase, I would say. I just started questioning like what exactly is religion, because at the end of the day, I don't even know. There's so many religions in this world, and it is told that one is true. So how come there's so many religions? And like I was just baffled. Then I started trying to find what I aligned with. Sorry, what is that? I started going with what I align with as a person, like what do I think is fair. But I believe that I believe in human rights and equality in all. And if I say I'm a religious person, any religion that I have to pick has to be aligned with what I believe as a person, not because at the end of the day I'm approaching this person that I'm trying to find what I feel like is good for me, and I feel like is good for like everyone, in the sense that you shouldn't subject people to believing or killing people to believe what you think is true. So if that is the way of what your religion is teaching, I feel like that is wrong, because how can you just take a life over something you don't even know about? So I remember approaching that Muslim person. I was like, yes, because I legitimately wanted to discover things. I remember reading about so many things about the Quran, and I just started questioning everything. I like how can I go into this part of saying I can kill someone boldly, and because there's so many emphasis on there that promote like the killing. I'm like, okay, if anything has to do with taking life of any type, I'll just be out of it. Then I started saying, okay, let me go back to Christianity to know exactly what is even the teaching. And I kind of see the resemblance of Christianity with humanity, in the sense that I just feel like churches has this different doctrine that kind of make Christianity look like what it is right now, but it's legitimately what is not it. So I just started staying away from church, in a sense, because I just feel like it's giving more division in the Christian community, and it's just not that part for me. I started just trying to pick up the Bible and exactly knowing what it says for itself, without like a priest or pastor telling me what it says. Like I just took the Bible like a book to just like, I don't know, like a study book to just study exactly what it says. So I kind of studied this, and I just feel like without I took Bible like a sense of like, will I say prophet as maybe say president that does have this different doctrine and different cycle of like rule of law that they were passing to different people, and it became like a history book for like that kind of sense. And if you look at like Christian said, like the last like Jesus Christ, his preaching is some, to me it kind of seemed like what humanity is meant to be like, in the sense that it promotes this self-love, it promotes helping, it promotes like a lot of things that it kind of incorporated in like so many constitution right now. And sometimes people will be like, well, I am against Christianity law, but I am not against the constitution law. And I kind of see that some of the constitution law kind of correlate with what Christ's teaching is. So I'm in this phase that like taking away the church part, because church are just something else. Taking away the church part, just the preaching or what or like the example life that and Jesus Christ lived, it does seem like humanity in a sense that if everybody can follow, it kind of give this sense of like love to the community, which everybody needs to adapt. So that is my thought of the whole thing.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for sharing. I wish you good luck on your journey. You are still on a journey. A good number of us have been where you are, and we kind of ended up where we are now. So it's going to be a ride. It might be pleasant, it might be unpleasant, but we wish you well in your journey, because we know that religion is shit, and it takes time to deconstruct all the parts of it. So thank you very much for sharing. So I think now, Agent Smith, since there's nobody else in the queue, you can ask your question.
Sorry, after him, can I go?
Okay, wait, King, hold on. King, what is this?
I was going to say, I'll go after him.
Okay.
All right. So, King, while you're going, you can also answer. So, is it even possible, like, for someone who has, become an atheist to, reverse back to maybe his previous belief or maybe another form of belief? Now, I'm not speaking of those that venture into some form of spirituality, like I mean like pure religion. Have any of you guys like maybe encountered such person, or maybe is there anyone that has gone to and fro?
Yeah.
I've heard claims of people who were once atheists going back to religion. I've heard those claims, but for me, it will never happen. I will never go back to
even if Jesus comes to
back.
you.
No, because I see religion for what it is. Religions, they're just man-made concepts, nothing more, nothing less. It's just people trying to make sense of the world around them. They're just stories and things that people cook up. And how can I, after realizing that, then go back to that? For me, it's a no. I'm even, in the process now. I'm starting to write. I know the song I want played at my funeral, and I'm going to make sure I'm buried in my funeral is a non-religious funeral. Nobody should make any mistake of taking me to a frigging church. I will come back and haunt them.
Mm-hmm. I like that spirit. I love the spirit.
Nice. Yeah, King.
Yeah, so like based on what Esther said, right? So Agent, to answer your question, right? I've heard of those stories. And honestly, I think it's propaganda. Like I'll see like some Christian YouTube channel where it's like, oh, this guy's be an atheist or a scientist, and they converted to a Christian or something like that, and this is like that token atheist that they try to use to convince people who are like on the fence, like, oh, look at this person that believes in science. They also believe in, in Jesus or whatever. But, what I've never seen though is someone who was an atheist for logical reasons. Okay. Not meaning logical reasons, meaning like for me, I'll use myself as an example, right? When I deconverted, right, I learned a lot of things about, the Bible and Christianity and its history, right? One thing that really like solidified it for me was I came across there's this Jewish guy called Tovia Singer. It's like a Jewish rabbi or whatever. And he just explains why Jews don't believe in Jesus. Will you believe that until I deconverted, it never even really hit me that modern day Jews like don't believe in Jesus. But anyways, I listened to his arguments and I listened to what the Christians like the rebuttal, right? And like, okay, what the Christians were saying was not adding up, right? They were taking things out of context, trying to make it seem like, oh, Jesus is prophesied or whatever. So I had very, very logical reasons to go like, okay, Christianity is a false religion, okay? And it's just what it is. That can't change. Like I can literally clearly see for my own self how, like in Matthew, they're quoting something from the Old Testament and literally taking it out of context, like that is what it is. It can't change, so there's no way for me to, as an atheist today, to be like, okay, I'm going to become a Christian again, for that to happen, right? Literally all those things in the Bible would have to be somehow rewritten or something, like I can't make what doesn't make sense. It's just not possible. So the only people that I see that change are people who maybe they didn't really quite have a logical reason why they were an atheist to begin with. Maybe it was something like, they just weren't raised religious, or maybe they used to be a Christian and then someone died and they prayed to God for that person while the person was alive, and then they got upset, right? And later in the future, they had like another emotional thing that swayed them again, right? But it's never really any logical reason. But just so that's my take on Agent's question, and then I just wanted to quickly contribute to the topic of the room. On the loneliness of atheism, yes, it can be very lonely. For me, myself, especially like after the converting, right? And you're in a space where everybody's religious, right? You're on social media. Everything is Jesus, that. Thank God for this. People quoting scriptures, blah, blah, blah. Or even in your real life, you're out with your friends and like, oh, thank God for this, all these things. And in your own mind, internally, you're just like, this is all bullshit, right? Like you kind of want to say something, but you just know that like it might not end well or whatever. Maybe it's not worth it. What really helped me, and I think maybe helps a lot of people, is finding like-minded people online. Like I remember just going on Instagram and literally searching like, I think I literally searched like Nigerian atheists or something, and I found like a Lagos atheist, and I think I saw Ranting. I saw a bunch of people, and I started following them. And it really helped to just see people who kind of see religion for what it is. It's like a breath of fresh air. After I've gone to my timeline, I just see a lot of religious stuff, to actually see like people saying, okay, like this is obviously fake, and yeah, like also like this kind of platform, what we're doing now on Clubhouse, occasionally meeting and having a community, I think it helps to kind of reduce that whole lonely aspect of, of religion. I personally wish in my real life that I had more friends who were not believers. I have a few, I can count them on one hand, right? But the majority of the people that I know, they believe. And even like when I try to just like test and just like, maybe we're having a conversation and then they say something and I just try to like probe, like, okay, we think about what you just said for a second, the kind of response I get just tells me, yeah, this person is not anywhere near doubting or, like it's like very, very deep in this. And if I go for that, it's not going to end well. So, yeah, I think, that's my take on this.
All right. Thank you very much. Before Culture speaks, let me see if to answer Agent's question. For me, just like Esther said, I've seen a lot of, whenever I even see those are the ones that I listen to them, like to sit down. and listen like, okay, the person that can convert me back to Christianity to make me believe in God are people that have been atheists before. But what I always listen to, what I always hear, these motherfuckers were never atheists. And this is why I say that I might be committing the no true Scotsman fallacy. But these fuckers were not atheists because I've done a lot. I've spoken to at least 30 plus atheists. And there's a pattern. There's always that point of realization, the construction stages where things don't start making sense, things start breaking down. There's the emotional reasons and there's now the logical reason. But these fuckers have none of that. They just say, I was so angry at God. I was just this thing. I was just that. And this particular line is what a lot of Christians used to use to attack atheists. That you atheists are not really atheists. You are just rebellious. You are just against God. But how can you be against something you don't believe exists? So once you get to that point, once you understand how the Wizard of Oz works, that the Wizard of Oz is nothing but just a man directing a puppet. That is what Yahweh is. Yahweh is just a puppet of whatever Jewish God, the Jewish people of that time. That is when you discover all those things, just like Allah is Muhammad's prophet, Muhammad's puppet. When you see all those things, it is hard for you to go back. If you go back, you just decided to do a self-delusion, or maybe you have amnesia and your brain resets back to when you are still a believer. But once you go through that process genuinely, it is very tough because everybody, I come across people on Clubhouse that also put on their bio former atheist, and I'm like, okay, please tell me how did you become an atheist? And that is where you see everything falls flat. Is something, then the Holy Spirit. I'm like, how did you know the Holy Spirit is real? So you already bought into the bullshit already. We are just in a phase, whatever phase. So that's why I take a leap to say those fuckers were never atheists. They always come and do all those videos. It's propaganda. The ones that do the videos. So that's my take. So please, culture, please can go.
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Very greetings.
Ranting, I have a question. When
okay, after culture. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I probably will not make any sense, but I'm on a personal journey where I have passed the religion mindsets. I mean, I have woken from that delusion. But the stage that I am in life now, I'm not sure if something that atheists will accept, or if I should consider myself an atheist as well. So what am I saying? Do I believe in God? No, or God? No, I don't believe in God in the Bible or religious God. But do I believe in manifestation? Yes, because I have felt it. I have thought about things that I was able to manifest. So, I mean, I came up to maybe ask if that's part of being an atheist. But the Antichrist, me personally, I'm an Antichrist. I'm not afraid to say it. And the lonely part of it, let me just throw some things towards the topic, and then if anybody can ask and answer that question, if manifestation and visualization and being able to manifest things in your life, if that's part of atheist. So, for the lonely part of it, in my family, I'm probably the person they consider as the devil because I do not go to church. I've stopped going to church since 2012 when I started asking questions that nobody ever answered. And I started feeling things that I don't know if others were feeling, because if they were feeling the same thing I was feeling, there won't be a lot of people in the church. So the loneliness is really disturbing because at this stage of my life where I am now, I'm supposed to be settling down, maybe based on the society, but mentally, yes, I believe so. But I feel like I cannot just settle with any woman, right? most of the women that I'm surrounded with are women that are Christians. And being Nigerian, Igbo man, majority of our people from that tribe, from Nigeria, eastern part of Nigeria, are usually Christians. So people that I'm always in touch with are usually Christians. But I never see myself bringing children, godly children. Let me just call them godly because even if I don't believe in God, I believe that if I have to believe in God, I am the God myself. So I believe that I don't think any woman, any Christian is worthy enough to bring our gods and goddesses. Yes, I call human gods because we create, right? Um, yeah. So I believe that none is capable or have the mentality to do so with me because the knowledge that I have, things that I also believe that I understood, the way I see life is way different. And the way I see life is majority, all the people on this stage are saying it the same way. Most of the things that you guys are saying, matter of fact, all the things you guys are saying are the same thing that I believe in. It's just that the spiritual part, the visualization, the manifestation part is that I haven't heard anybody say anything about it yet. So is he lonely? Yeah, oh yeah. It's one of since I left Christianity, I have been more lonely than I can ever imagine or ever think about all my life, right? Because there's nobody on Sundays. It's like being in Nigeria on Sunday, you are the only one at home. Your whole neighbors are in church. Your family are in church, you know. And when you step out to go buy one or two things, you find out all the shops are closed. But when you're in the Western world, all the shops are open on Sundays. So we keep fooling ourselves in the name of religion, in the name of God coming to save us. No, none of us Africans in Africa, we don't want to liberate ourselves. We don't want to wake up from the mental slavery because we believe there's a blue eye, long hair, white man coming from the sky to save us. But please, let me just cut this short. Can somebody maybe answer the question I asked? If someone that I wouldn't even say practice, someone that believes in manifestation and also have had experiences or episodes and things that they manifested. Is that part of being an atheist, or is this? Am I supposed to be labeled under something else? If I can ask this.
Who can answer this one? Me self, my brain dey load.
What do you mean by manifestation? Because I don't even know what that is.
So you know how Christians they do pray, right? They pray for all sorts of things. Maybe luckily for them, if whatever they ask for, happens or comes to life within a week or a month, they say, "Thank God, God did this, God did that." Right? My part of manifestation is, let's say I want to get a job or working for Microsoft, right? So on a normal day, I will focus on that job. There are steps, maybe um, watching what I eat, what I listen to, what I watch, just sacrificing some things that most of the things that I value so much around me or in my life. These are the fastest way that I manifest them. So I'm just giving you examples or giving you how it works. But let's say I want something happen in 1 week. And when it happened, I always say it like it's deja vu, right? That is what I meant by manifestation. I know you're familiar with the word manifestation, right? Maybe assuming things or thinking things that finally come to life or come to pass, right? So that's what I'm asking. Is this part of atheist also, or is this something else?
I'll just quickly go before I think Sphinx wants to go. But to me, that just sounds like superstition. Like I'm not seeing the difference. It's like the people who believe that it just might sound ridiculous to you, but for example, some people believe maybe they have like a lucky shoe. So if they want to manifest a job or something, or lucky socks, like they have to wear that pair of socks or during that period while they're hoping for something, or people who believe like, well, I need to put on my pants first before I put on my shirt. If I do it the other way around, bad things always happen, kind of thing. I think I don't see much of a difference. I think it's just a mental thing. It's a mental state. Like all I'll say to you is that have you tried not manifesting? So just try like you're, looking for a job or whatever, and don't manifest. Just put in the work. Like you're looking for a job, study, just do the actual work and see if you get it without manifesting. And if you do, there's your answer. And also on the other hand, if you do your manifesting sometimes and it doesn't work out for you, I think that's also your answer. It's just kind of like prayer. It's just random, right? So that's my take.
Okay, let me. I
All
know
right.
that. One second, okay, real quick. The example I gave you probably kind of off. Yes, because if you apply for a job, you have to put in your application, you have to study for the job, read about it, call them for follow up, for interviews, and all sorts of things. Yes, that's quite right. Let me just give an example, another example. And when I say manifestation, I don't. This is not something that happened one or two times. Let me use the time that I was in the world. Let's say I want to sleep with an Asian woman within the next 1 week. I visualize it. I go through the process. Forget about the fasting and everything. But when I think of such woman within that short period of time, once I go to the bar, I end up meeting that woman without even putting in work. I mean, we are men. We know what it is to put in work when you meet a woman. So without putting in work. So I mean, it's okay though. But I'll let the other speaker speak though.
Can I answer that question, please?
Well, I think Finks wanted to go after Finks. After
Okay.
Finks, yeah.
I'm also on the same let me say wavelength as culture. I'm like I practice spirituality daily, and it's just what I do. It has just become like who I am. But I'm not a Christian. I don't go to church, and I don't follow Abrahamic religions. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that I just feel like this is the way that works best for me. Like in the past, I used to be an atheist, and it wasn't working out for me. Like things were not just going well, and then following this path has helped me to be like more balanced, more secure. Yeah, that's all I would say.
Okay. Can I speak now?
Yes.
Okay. I think we need to start normalizing saying I don't know. There are things that we will never have answers for. Well, in the future there might be answers for these things, but some things we will never be able to explain. And we should normalize saying we don't know. There's some things that you think, okay, as an atheist, these manifestations that you were talking about a few days ago, I was looking for some documents, and I could picture myself when I was still a Christian. I would have prayed to God, God, please help me find this document. And I would be searching and searching and searching all over the place. And I went upstairs, right? Went into the room, and I thought, look, I think I know where this thing is. I'll have a look. And the very first place I thought to look, I found it there, the document I was looking for. And I started to laugh because there was no God in this. It was so easy. I found it, right? And so I was thinking, when I was a Christian, I would have assumed that it was God that helped me find that document, right? But I now realize that no, there was no God involved all that time. All I'm trying to say here is, when you talk about manifestation, some people talk about deja vu, some people talk about karma. I don't believe all those things. I don't know. I try to live my life godless, simplistic. Anything I cannot explain, I try to find the answers. But if it's becoming contentious, just leave it quietly, right? Because there are other things I can bother myself with. And so I think I'm content. I've actually told myself, I'm content in not knowing some things. I'm content in, just living my life, like things are working for me, for goodness sake, so I'm content just living a God-free life and just knowing that some things I would never know. Some people ask me, "Oh, but don't you want to know that there's a creator and there's not a creator?" Listen, I'm happy to not know whether there's this thing you call a creator. Look, I really don't want to know. I'm good, right? So let's normalize recognizing that there's some things that we would never have explanations for. And, when you don't know, say you don't know. There was a quote I heard someone say. They said, religion is in the business of proving itself right, but science is in the business of proving itself wrong. Religion will tell you, we know the answers. We know it's Yahweh. Yahweh is the God. Muslim will tell you, no, it is Allah. They don't know. These people don't know. I would rather people come and say, we don't know, than to say we know. Thank you.
I would like to say something.
Well done. So you after Pearl doesn't.
Okay.
Pearl, are you there?
Yes, hi. Sorry, this is my first time in Clubhouse. I don't know. Can anyone hear me?
Oh, yeah, we hear you. Welcome.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the Pearly Gates.
Thank you. So I think I'm just going to echo everything. Thank you for welcoming me. Sorry. Echo everything Esther said. I've been an atheist for about 4 years now. And initially, I think I went through all the stages, but a characteristic stage of mine was when I denounced everything. I didn't want to believe there was any God out there. I didn't want to believe there was any power out there. I was very, very strongly and staunchly atheistic and not believing in any form of supernatural. But I think I've grown over the years and I have seen things. I mean, these were things I even saw as a Christian, things I experienced even when I was an atheist. And basically just echoing what Esther said, there is so much out there. And even if science has been able to explain a few parts, there's still so much out there we don't understand as to how human beings in the first cell decided to go through mitosis and how we arrived here. At the end of it all, no matter how much Big Bang we have been able to expound on or origin of species, there's still so much we don't understand and the possibilities, dreams. So deja vu, like she said, there's this one I have been actually thinking and pondering on, consciousness, all of that. So it's easy for us to easily maybe just discount what someone says and say, oh, I mean, it's possible. It could be a coincidence, Most times I think a lot of these things are coincidences. But I think that there could also be some explanation we have not yet unveiled yet. So to the person that talked about manifestations, I wouldn't say I've experienced anything that I would call out of the ordinary. I'm a very lucky person. So there's so many things that come my way that honestly, as a Christian, I would have attributed it to God and have sown seeds. While I was a Christian, so many great things happened to me. As an atheist, even better things have happened to me. And I could call that me manifesting to the universe or something. But I think a lot of times just to reduce and to prevent confusion and make you get really wound up in these things, not to focus too much on it. However, if you derive some sort of completeness or joy or satisfaction from that, then splurge. Yeah. That's all I have to say. Basically, just echoing what Esther said. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Pearl, I just became your first follower.
Well, thank you.
I've been an atheist for nearly 4 years myself.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Wait, Esther, just 4 years?
Yeah, I said just 4 years. Me, I've been
Like,
2 years in.
you guys are a bunch of toddlers, and you guys seem to know all
Uh-huh.
this better than some of us that have been like right from like what 4 years. Wow.
For me, not 3 years. I'll be 2 years.
2 years.
2020.
Ranting, your ass belongs to the church. Just go back.
2020.
Yo, I think where to go? I think Esther.
Yes, I had a question.
Can I say something later too, please?
All right.
Oh, okay. So, should I carry on? Should I carry on?
Yes.
I wanted to know, if any of you here, have you experienced this when you come away from religion, and when they ask you, why did you leave, and you take your time, explain to them, and then you're told that you were never a Christian to begin with, or you were never a Muslim to begin with, that if you were indeed a Christian, there's no way you would leave. If indeed you were a Muslim, if indeed you're a Christian, you won't leave. If you're a Muslim, you'll never leave. So I had a conversation with some people the other day who were Christians, and these people asked me why I left. I took my time, explained to them, and they said, I was never a Christian to begin with. They said I was never introduced to the good news or the gospel. That's what they said. That means I was never what was it they said? I don't remember. And then I then asked the person who said it, so what exactly is the good news? Right? This good news you reckon I was never introduced to, hence why I'm not a Christian. And the next thing out of his mouth was, it's going to take forever for him to explain. Someone came along and said, the gospel means that you are a follower of Christ. Like, what? Is that what the gospel is? Just a follower of Christ? Some other people were saying, it was this. Everything they said, look, I was that and more, right? And so why do these people get to lie about your reality? Why is that okay? So I wanted to know if any of you has experienced this, and how would you deal with that kind of conversation? What would your response be if someone says, you were never a Christian to begin with, or you were never a Muslim to begin with? What would your responses be?
Well, for me, I've learned to
Yeah, we can't hear you.
We lost you, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, I can hear
Going
you.
in and out.
Yes, brother Ranting.
Yes, why I say that I've learned that is to understand as a defense mechanism.
We lost you again.
Wow.
Did I say Nigeria? They show you shake you.
Yeah.
Your network is collapsing like religions.
That's good one. I would just say, so I haven't had it happen in real life because I don't talk to people about this as much in real life, but I have it happen online. And so same thing like Ranting said, right? I understand it's like a defense mechanism. It's a bit irritating because your natural impulse is to kind of want to prove that you were a Christian, right? Usually from my experience, it happens when, especially Christianity, because there's different denominations, right? Like if maybe you don't quite subscribe to that person's denomination and they think they have the right belief and you were wrong. Like let's say you said like Jesus is in God, Jesus is just the Son of God, and this person believes Jesus is God, right? They're like, you're not really a Christian. Like you have to think Jesus is God, something like that, right? Or they obviously, like Ranty said, they just want to they don't want to really engage, right? So what I usually tell them is that I call them out on it. I say, all you're doing is just a way to kind of shut down the conversation and deflect. Like you don't actually want to listen to the real reasons why I no longer believe, right? Like it's much easier to say, oh, you were never a Christian to begin with, so I can just dismiss you, than it is for you to be like, okay, well, why weren't you a Christian? And then let's talk about the actual reasons why you weren't a Christian. So I usually just call them out on it. And I guess sometimes, either they don't respond or maybe they realize, you're right. And then we actually have like a dialogue. I'm done if someone wants to go next.
Yeah, in my personal experience, I was talking with a girl, she's a Christian, and she made that statement to me. And to me, I believe that it comes from a place that for them to accept the fact that someone that was once a Christian like themselves has deconverted or deconstructed, it's scary because it means that for the exact same reasons that this person deconverted, they as well would deconvert. And so it's easier to just reject the notion that the person was a Christian to begin with. Because I think it's normal for everyone that's religious to at some point have doubts. And when they are confronted with that doubt, the knowledge that someone was confronted with that doubt, and when they sought answers to their doubts, ended up on the other side, instead of actually confirming their bias, confirming their religion to be true, they discovered that it was false. It's scary to them because so when next they have those doubts, they don't want to face the reality that it's possible that they have been lied to. So it's like cognitive dissonance. And for me, I told the person, I told the girl that I don't like that. And if you want to keep having these conversations with me, this kind of that you should not say that to me again because it's very hurtful. And I have a lot of religious trauma. And like when you make that kind of statement, it kind of just triggers me. So that's how I handle the situation. I just tell them to not say those words to me. We can discuss theology and other things, but don't question my past. Don't make claims about who I was or who I am as that you can never really understand. So yeah, just my take.
Okay. I think I'm back.
You're back.
Sha.
Disappeared again.
Go away.
Hey, yeah. Anyway, Sha should go.
How
Sha.
are you guys? Well, I came to share the room first. Let me share it so other people can come and join. Maybe learn or at least listen. Maybe some people do not like to share when the replay is on. Well, anyways, coming from religious country, living in it, turning from a person who used to watch people blowing themselves up, being motivated by that, being motivated by famous terrorists, to this point where I not just destroy their opinion, but I bring people out of that disaster. There was a point when I realized that, okay, I need to think. I need to realize it was really shocking. And the changes that happened in my mindset made me kind of dislike the people around me at the beginning, unfortunately, like my close friends. And I was like a coach outside the field, outside the pitch, watching everyone's movement, seeing that, oh, okay, my close friend who is doing this is affected by the religion. I dislike that. The other person, that behavior is completely taken from the religion, from the mindset, Islamic mindset specifically. That kind of made me deviate from the people around me at that point of time. But it didn't take long that I realized, okay, they are just like me. Maybe I found the way, but they are still looking for it. It's better for me to hold the light for them and help them come the same way, or at least find their own way. And yeah, I was really alone at the first 6-7 months of coming out of religion, to be honest. It was like a person. Imagine you are talking gibberish among people who are just talking English. But after that, I realized, okay, I need to find a way and talk to them in some other pattern. But now, right now, it's the other way. Unfortunately, for a person like me whose life is in danger all the time, cannot make new friends because of online. At least I cannot make new friends online because there are many incidents that they kidnap people like me and they take them away. But I have my close friends, especially from high school, and I'm really happy that people around me in high school are almost atheists. At least 5 of them by me, and 1 of them is agnostic. And I don't want to use the word blessing, but I'm really happy that I have that around me now. And my family also. My father is now an agnostic. He left prayers last year, right after COVID, and my mom,
Wow.
still religious, but doesn't talk about it. At least that's a good point. The mom that used to force me when I was an atheist, I had to go to the Islamic ceremony because of my mom. That was a disaster, sitting around people being 60-year-old, 50-year-old, 40-year-old, all of them religious and just acting like a Muslim. But now it's all good. At least not online. No, online I do not talk to my close friends. I do not make friends online because of the security reasons. But the person I am outside the social media, that's good. Not alone. But if you guys down there feel lonely, please talk. Come up and share maybe the safe space that we have here. You can find a good friend to share. If you're living in a good country, at least, do not think that, okay, the stage of life is to be lonely right now. Now come up and share. You will find good friends. And I'm one of your good friends, for sure. And also you're a student, everyone. I learn from you whenever I listen, especially Easter and Ranting. And I thank you guys for letting me speak. Bye-bye.
And Shah, can I just say, I appreciate what you do on Clubhouse. I've learned so much about Islam from you, and I appreciate the work that you do exposing Islam and taking your time to call out the BS on a daily basis here on Clubhouse. Keep up the good work, and let's carry on normalizing atheism and normalizing the fact that we do not need religion to be good people. We can be good without God. Thank you.
Thank you, Easter. I always learn from you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Ranting. Who's next?
You all are due.
Can I speak now?
I guess so. I'll go after you.
You hear me?
No,
Oh, it's
Israel wants
coming
to
in and
speak, so
out.
Israel, go after you.
No, I don't want to speak. I was asking if Ranting could speak now because it's like
I've been screaming I'm screaming my lungs.
But yeah, I think the
Are you
next
serious?
person is ready.
It's not me that's cutting out. What's going on?
Yeah, ready. I think okay. Ready has spoken. Or okay, Israel go now. Israel go.
No, I didn't want to say anything. I was just wondering if you could speak now.
Okay. I was okay. Everybody.
Yeah, it was me that wanted to speak. Yeah. I mean, should I talk?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. Sorry. I mean, I thought the speaker was a manifestation and all this stuff like that, right? Well, I believe that good vibes are a thing, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know. From what I can see, like I'm not against the idea that, there's this higher calling or there's this God somewhere. Right? I'm not against the idea. I like, if you want to go do that, yeah. For all you know, you could be right, right? Like we'll all just die now and then find out actually Allah was actually the God all along, and then now we're all in deep shit because we eat pork meat. Or or it's Vishnu or anybody. Like we don't really know all these things. I wish we could see what happens after death, but from what I know, it's just nothing, right? And I'm like, 20 something, 21, and in my short 2 decades, I have seen such horrible things. Like I have seen, with witness and seen the same thing, because last use, I have witnessed horrible, horrible things. And when you're in, like somebody who's like a little bit more aware than others in church and all, you almost feel like it's demonic, the things that you see people do to others and in church, like the way they will feast on their hopes and dreams, right? And their desperation. It almost makes you sick. And being a feminist does also help as well for my mental health, because I was reading is this Sudanese women, what they were going through, and it's not the first time I ever felt helpless, but I think that's a moment I can just say that I've never felt so insignificant and worthless as I did reading about that. And that was just reading. It's a very dark world that we live in, and the only thing that makes me more confident in it is that as long as it's extreme evil, that means it's something to comparison. So if it's extreme evil, then it's extreme good, and there's those that are in between. And one thing is like, regardless of everything that I've seen, all the horrible things I've seen people do to each other, it's all right, because there's also the opposite spectrum of it. Yeah, on loneliness thing, I think I've always suffered from loneliness, like knowing a bit too quirky, even just liking like Western stuff, right? Like liking anime or something like that. People like, oh, well, you're acting white. It's like, what is acting white? It's like you get questioned for your even your skin color card. You get questioned for it, and then once you start having this like beliefs that, I don't really think this thing is real, or I feel like the people are using us for these things, then it's that you're not really African, because a true African woman or a true Nigerian woman is a powerful and religious woman. My God. So yeah, it's a very odd thing. I have come to my parents like this when I was younger that I don't believe in God and everything like that, and they both just say that you realize it's when you're older. That so you will change your mind when you get older. And I will tell my friends I'm an atheist, and they'll be like, you're weird for being an atheist, because how can you believe there is no God? But it's all right. Like we still continue our friendship afterwards, but it's like you can't really speak your mind about it. Like you can't really talk too much about it with them, because it's almost like as if you have to be very cautious with how you talk about people's belief systems, because it's tied to their hopes and dreams. I think the one that really put the nail in the coffin was after my mom had passed away, right? And I was so angry, and I was lashing out and everything. This happened like last year. And I was talking to my dad about it. Like I was mad at him as well. Like I was very angry at him. And he was trying to make me go to church. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my mom literally gave offering at church, gave tithe. What's that thing when you give the church money? Just not like no more tithe. Like, you just give the church money. That's what she did, and then she died. Yeah, horribly. And I think about the pain that she felt before she passed away. It's like, that's how she passed. I just started pointing out that, oh, some people become atheists because someone had died. Like, no. Like, I was really like this before. But I just think about it and I'm like, what type of nonsense is that? Like, and my dad tells me that, if he didn't go to church and he didn't believe all this stuff here, and all the things that happened to like his loved ones and his friends would mean nothing, and like there's no point in continuing. And he just really opened up to me that day and was like, every day I think about ending it, and the only thing that keeps me going is that there's God and God cares about us. How can I go and tell this person, I don't think God exists? And now he's the only like actual family that I have. He and my brother. And, it's not easy. I'm in the US, and the community that I had at home, I don't have it anymore. It's so quiet here. And yeah, I'm happy I'm online. I'm talking to people. I have made new friends and all. Like, I also found Clubhouse, and I just talk to you guys. I don't know. Conversation in Clubhouse is a weird thing. Let me just come here, have a topic, and just talk about it. It's very odd compared to like actual organic conversation. But I have friends here. It's okay. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Bro, like seriously, I can hear you. Like you're underwater.
Yo,
What up now? What up?
Yes, but
Yeah, better.
Yeah, it's better.
What's going on, man? Okay, please, I will soon round up. Lavender Joy. That's
Wait, has Reggie spoken?
Yes, ready has spoken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Lavender Joy, if you can hear.
Lavender Joy, you're not on mute, but we can't hear you. Maybe if you leave the app and come back, it might work. I don't know. Just in case you're trying to talk.
Joy. Okay, so to round up, let's
Sorry,
see what we can.
Ranting,
Yeah.
I want to say something before you round up.
Shoot.
All right. So, so we've really discussed, the issue, which is like, sometimes it can quite be lonely for some persons, not everyone anyway. So but for those of us that that get to be lonely, like, what do you guys think are some of the ways that we can kind of mitigate some of these things? I mean, forums like this is actually nice. So yeah, I mean, I think there are some atheists that they've not really met their fellow person in real life. Mostly it's kind of online or maybe Facebook, blah, kind of like. So, what are some of the things that maybe you guys think we can do to yeah.
Can I answer that question, Ranting? Okay. So I when I first became an atheist, I was anti-theist. I just would not listen to anything any religious person has to say. I was not interested, not keen. But then I realized, gosh, I'm actually limiting myself. It's going to be a very, very lonely world. So I asked someone just similar question, and what they said to me was, you're starting to behave exactly like the religious people by separating yourself, us versus them, atheists versus religious, or atheists versus theists. They said we are all atheists, all of us, even the theists are atheists of some kind. The theist believes in one religion, but they're atheists to all the other religions out there. Just that we atheists take it that one step further, right? And we say, we don't do any of these religions. So when you start to separate yourself, when you start to look at yourself as, I'm this and that, I can understand why people would not want to, say, date a theist, because that comes with its own complications. But you need to understand that sometimes you need to take off the atheist hat, depending on where you find yourself. If you find yourself, say, like in Nigeria, for example, it's going to be really hard because nearly everyone is religious over there. But in the country that I live in, it's easy, very secular country. Hardly most of them they never religious at all. So you need to start, maybe creating your own community. You have to create what works for you, right? And not so much separating yourself. It's us versus them. As much as possible, I don't, anyone who wants to be religious, please feel free, do your religion, as long as you're not shoving it down my throat, as long as you're not trying to recruit me into your religion. So, it's just trying to see what works, whatever society you find yourself in, just one step at a time. And also, you see the online community, that's very important for atheists, because then it normalizes you, it validates you, because it's easy to see yourself as the crazy one in the midst of so many. There was a quote by C.S. Lewis that I actually saw today when I'm going to land my plane here. It says, when the whole world is running towards a cliff, he who is running in the opposite direction appears to have lost his mind. Thank you.
What you just said about how when Deborah died and the Christians were criticizing the life out of Islam, but when the light turns back to them on their LGBT thing, everybody got defensive. But you're right, people are atheists towards all their religions.
Okay, round up. It says, King, I think my volume is working now. Be okay, please.
Yeah. I'm not going to say much.
Okay.
As always, I agree with what Esther said. You want to find that right balance, right? You don't want to be overly extreme, because that could also be harmful. So obviously, at least me personally speaking, I also live in I live in the US, so it's, I don't know. The US is kind of secular. The religious people, they're religious, but they're not like overly religious, so it's still tolerable, right? But one thing that I found helped me was the online community too, right? Like just following people on whatever social platform that you're on that are like minded. like Esther said, for me, the validation is very, very important, right? Like if I go too long without seeing some kind of should I say atheist or agnostic content, if I'm just flooded with like religious stuff like every other day, I'm going to think like I'm losing my mind. It's like, are these people insane? Like I know I'm not crazy, like I know I'm not. So it really helped me finding like communities like this, and just following these people and just interacting, and it just kind of like validating myself that yeah, I'm not crazy, and I'm actually sane. So yeah, so I think agent like online will help, and then I don't know if like one or two people, maybe in your personal circle, maybe you could try having these conversations, like maybe not so aggressively, but you could just talk about it. Like how I found out about my atheist friends was like we might be talking about something, and I'll just drop like a little nugget, and depending on how they respond, then I take it further until I realize, okay, yeah, this person doesn't really believe either, and then I know that I can safely talk to this person about this thing. And then some other people, from the way they responded, I already know that okay, yeah, this person is like very, very deep in faith, and we're never going to have religious conversations. So that's another way to build like your own personal network in real life.
Please permit me to speak. I beg you. So I have a platform. Ranting, I hope you don't mind. I have a platform where I share deconversion. I expose Christianity in Nigeria, in Africa, on YouTube. But I find that most of the people who listen to me are over in America. Most of my audience are Americans, for goodness sake. And for they're not my target audience. I don't know why that's the case, because it's very specific. I talk about Adeboye, talk about Adenche, and those clowns over in Nigeria. So this is me just unashamedly promoting my YouTube platform. I am the Afro Humanist. And as much as possible, I would love to have these conversations with you guys. Anyone who's interested in talking about your deconversion story, if you have any, or if you're in the process of just questioning, I just like to have these conversations because as much as possible, I want to normalize atheism and to get this conversation going. It's time that Nigerians wake up and realize that Adeboye is scamming them. Oyedepo and all those people, they're all crooks and pulpit bandits. Enough is enough. These people Christianity has had a fun ride. Islam, they've had a fun ride. But it's time that people start waking up and realizing that religion is nothing but man-made concepts. So please, guys, if you're interested, I'm the Afro Humanist on YouTube. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Ranting, are you there? You're on mute.
I didn't even know this room was on replay.
Looks like his microphone is problematic.
Yeah, but you're sounding like you're in Atlantis or something.
In the Matrix.
He broke his microphone.
Is it a new mic you're using?
Yeah, what's going on? Bro, we can't hear you. Like you're underwater.
Yeah. You're sounding like you're in the trenches.
Well, he's in Nigeria, so
That's why most of those pastors can capitalize on the people, because they know that internet, they can't really watch YouTube videos, they can't really engage. They only want all those all those skits, 2 minute, 1 minute skits of nah.
I think Nigerians actually consume a lot of YouTube especially when it comes to Nollywood movies.
Me
So
too.
it's actually a good avenue for like making videos for Nigerians.
I think
more
Esther,
the diaspora.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, true.
Esther, I think the problem is that the representation, right?
Representation.
So think about this way, right? Like in the past, when you were going to apply for school, you know what you were going to choose: doctor, lawyer. We didn't even have engineer at that time, right? Doctor, lawyer, pick your poison. But now, because some of our parents are seeing more Nigerian people, right, doing different stuff. Like that was telling me, oh, this Nigerian girl, and she's a great poet and stuff. She did her poetry for these people. Like, can you do that as well? And it's like, if I was interested in this thing, why didn't you, do anything? So it's like when there's no representation of people that look like you or people that are from where you are, it's almost like that thing that the person is doing is for those people. Like if you were to dye your hair, dyeing your hair is for white people, dyeing hair is for wayward people. But now people are becoming more tolerant towards like dyeing hair. I've seen Nigerians dye their hair, and it's like, oh, okay. Before, like it was far worse for boys to have like dreads, right? But now it's becoming more common, and those things are changing as well. So representation matters. If Nigerians see more Nigerians online talking about this stuff, they will watch it.
Yeah, Hillary, and for any of you who is planning to have your own platform, whether it is TikTok, whether it is YouTube, whatever platform, I would urge you to go ahead and do so. Start small. Could be just uploading a 1 minute video, whatever it is, right? Because people consume, content. Everybody's doing content. People are consuming this thing, but you see most of them, they're just skits. Nothing stops atheists from doing their own skits too. Nothing stops agnostics, from asking these hard questions. So there is an audience for any content creator, and we need more Nigerian atheists, Nigerian agnostics, African atheists, African agnostics, however you identify. Hillary was talking about representation. That's the reason why I decided, because it was consuming content. Consuming content was a huge reason why I deconverted, watching the Atheist Experience and, lots of all those programs. And so I thought to myself, as, someone who's over 40 years old, right? People my age, many of them are highly religious. I'm talking about the African women my age, but then I'm stepping out. I'm being a face, and making people understand that if I can do it, you can do it too. And that's why on my YouTube I have my face on there. I don't. Some people you would not see the image. You will not see. No, I'm there. I'm me. I step out there and share my story. So representation matters. If any of you was planning to speak on your deconversion, look, just go on YouTube and see deconversion stories. People want that content. So I urge you, if any of you was thinking, should I not, please do it and let us know about it. We will subscribe. We will, put it out there, and that's how our message would reach people. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Please subscribe up Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, and anywhere you find podcasts. Then check out the show notes below for links that you find useful. WhatsApp also. Have a great week, and I will catch you on the next one.